Am I wrong for telling my sister her rainbow baby isn't special? I, 27 female, have a set of twins, Ben and Betty. They just turned 6. My sister, 32 female, has Connor, who is 4. My sister and her husband lost their first baby due to SIDS. It was devastating for the whole family, and I was behind my sister 100% of the way. I couldn't imagine what it was like. Anyway, when she found out she was pregnant with Connor, we were all excited. The pregnancy went well, and Connor got a good bill of health. I love my sister and I love my nephew, but my sister is convinced that because he's her rainbow baby, that means he can do whatever he wants. Connor is incredibly spoiled and a brat. He throws fits to get his way, hits, kicks, cries, whatever it takes. My sister and her husband give him no discipline. He's their rainbow baby, so that is their excuse for his bad behavior. Their lives are to serve for whatever Connor wants. My twins just turned 6 and we had a small party for them. Everyone was having a good time except for Connor. He wanted cake, didn't like the games, wanted to watch TV, wanted ice cream now, didn't want other kids to touch him, and etc. Basically, the whole party, Connor threw a tantrum. The final straw came at present time. My husband went to get the gifts out of the living room only to find Connor had ripped nearly all of them open. My sister made excuses, saying he was just excited and wanted to play with my kids' new toys. I lost it. I told her that Connor isn't special, that he's a brat and he's been ruining the party since he got here. My sister immediately went on that he's her rainbow baby and he didn't mean it and maybe I should have put the presents where he couldn't get to them. They were in the living room and the party was outside. No one was inside. I lost my temper. I know I did. This was my kid's party though. I said some nasty things to her. I told her that Connor isn't a baby anymore and he's not special and she's raising a self-centered brat who will grow up to be a self-centered adult. She left the party and then my parents called. They said they understood my frustrations and everything about the situation. Then they said they still feel like I should apologize to my sister. Why? Because I have 2 healthy kids while she lost 1 and she's still having to deal with it? I told them no. My sister should apologize for how her son acted at the party. My husband and the guests who were at the party are on my side. My sister hasn't really spoken to me in a few days, just posted passive-aggressive things on social media, which I just blocked. So, am I wrong here?
Of all the crazy headlines that go up about Mr. Kanye West, I will always have a soft spot for him. I genuinely think he's a good dude, and that's because of a personal experience I had with him. I used to be a backup dancer for Mr. Kanye West many, many years ago. It was when he came to Australia for the Splendor in the Grass show, and he came to town and he hired like 20 Australian girls to be his ballerinas. Now, one night after the show, we went back to his penthouse, all of us dancers and his crew, and we went for the after party. A bunch of us were out on the veranda, so there was like Kanye, the 2 ballerinas that he traveled with, the female ballerinas that he traveled with, and then he had like a bit of a posse that came around and traveled with him. Kanye was inside on his laptop, I don't know, doing something, and a bunch of us were out on the veranda, we were like dancing and drinking and all that sort of stuff. Now, we were all sitting around and a bunch of the guys that were like Kanye's little posse were like standing around and they were like dancing and twerking and they're like, blah, 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 join in. And I was like, oh no, I'm okay. I'm just sitting here. I'm just relaxing, just chilling. And out of all the girls, I think I was probably the thickest, right? So I don't know. I'm generalizing here, but I think the Americans liked thick girls and they like were honing in on me. They were like, come on, dance, twerk, come on, get up, twerk, blah, blah, blah. And they were like full on shaking their bum, like trying to like get me to do what they wanted to do. And there was one of Kanye's dancers, she was like grinding on one of the guys and I was like, oh, I don't really want to do that. And they were all like, it was a lot of pressure. Like I could feel the walls closing in on me. I felt really, really uncomfortable. I kept saying no and they were like, come on. And I kept saying no and they kept coming in. And I was getting to this point where I was like, I feel really unsafe here. Like there was a bunch of really intimidating dudes like honing in on me, asking me to like dance and stuff. And then out of nowhere, Kanye literally like burst through them and was like, bro, she said no. And I was like, whoa. And he was like, she said no, so stop asking her to do it, all right? And they were like, okay, sorry, bro. And they like backed up and he like came and sat next to me and he was like, look, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. Like they're just being dicks. Like you don't have to do anything. Just have fun chilling. And I was like, oh my God. Like in that moment, I felt really, really unsafe. Like there was a bunch of guys asking me to do something that I didn't want to do. And Kanye told them to back off. So like of all the things that I see about him, at the crux of it all, I think he's a good dude. Maybe he does some crazy shit, but I will always have a soft spot for you. Yay.
It was never easy to have everyone know what I was feeling. But it got even worse when Dad started working as a janitor at a posh private high school and I got enrolled for free. But Dad, I don't think I'll fit in. They're all probably billionaires. And they'll just turn up their noses at me when they find out you work there. I don't want you to tell anyone that I'm your dad, okay? I don't want anything to be harder for you. And you're just as smart and deserving as any kid out there. So don't let anyone make you feel otherwise. But as expected, school was a nightmare. On my first day, the school queen, Ashley, and her gang immediately noticed me. Their eyes were scanning me up and down, and it was really freaking me out. "You're pretty, but do you own a private island?" "Oh, is that a requirement here?" "Not really, but everyone here is rich, so I'm just checking which richness level you belong to." I felt so annoyed. I turned as red as her lipstick, but they thought I was just embarrassed. "Aw, you're blushing." "Don't worry, I'm the only one who has a private island." "But at least tell me you have a private jet?" One of her minions butted in. "I don't think she does, Ash. Look at that cheap secondhand bag from Walmart." Ashley looked horrified, like I had bugs crawling all over me. "Yes, of course I do. Who doesn't have a jet these days?" She narrowed her eyes, so I backed it up. "I came in the limo 'cause the jet has gone for maintenance." Just then, I saw my dad mopping the floor nearby, and even though he was poker-faced, I'm pretty sure he'd heard me. "Boring, but since you're pretty, you can join our gorgeous gang. We'll make your school experience beautiful like me." Suddenly, someone whispered, "Good luck." I turned around and instantly started blushing. Oh my, he was the cutest guy I'd ever seen. "Hi, I'm Julian." He held out his hand, and I could feel the blush spread down my neck and chest. "Ew, why are you so red? You look like a stupid tomato." "Forget about the gorgeous gang. I don't want to freak with us." "She's probably simping hard on Julian." "Well, Julian is only available for me, right, babe?" "Come on, Ashley. How many times do I have to tell you that we're not together?" Yeah, I hear you. "Babe." I was so relieved to hear that Julian didn't like Ashley, but I was sure it was becoming way too obvious to him that I was crushing hard. So I excused myself and ran away. I knew I'd have to avoid him, but that wasn't easy when we had all our classes together. And during chemistry, he sat down next to me. Just then, the teacher started demonstrating sugar dehydration and asked us why sugars turned into black toothpaste after sulfuric acid is added. Everyone looked at her like she'd spoken Chinese, but I knew the answer. Because the sulfuric acid removes water from the sugar, releasing heat, steam, and sulfur oxide fumes. It also smells like caramel. Everyone looked uber impressed. Just then, Julian scooted closer to me and whispered, "I didn't know your brain is as pretty as your face." Immediately, I turned horribly red. "Ew, what's wrong with you? Is that thing infectious?" Julian moved away immediately, and I could see the girls snickering. What a total jerk. My blushing disease wasn't the only thing that was ruining things at school. It wasn't long before Ashley realized I'd never worn anything that screamed $1 million. One day in the canteen, she suddenly came up to me and knocked my lunch tray off the table. "I've been watching you go to school every day, and you're just walking." I instantly turned red, totally furious. Before I could attack her, Dad was suddenly by my side. "That's an awful thing to do to a new student, miss." Ashley looked like she was about to explode. "Excuse you? Who are you, her dad? Just do your job, you stupid janitor. And that's to clean up our mess. Here's some more for you." And with that, Ashley suddenly kicked the cart and spilled all the chemicals and trash onto the floor. "Do your work properly, or I'll tell my parents. They can easily get you kicked out of here." How dare she treat my dad like that? That's not how you should treat janitors, Ashley. They work really hard to make sure the school is nice and clean for us. In fact, you shouldn't be allowed to speak like this to anyone. Aw, so am I supposed to cry and hug him for giving me his lame opinion? No, but you're supposed to treat hardworking people with respect. Imagine how you'd feel if someone treated you that way. And why do I need to imagine that? I'm pretty rich. I'm never going to be a janitor. I'm going to be sitting in a nice big office one day running Daddy's business. The principal, Ms. Sheldon, suddenly arrived and asked what was going on. Ashley immediately transformed into an angel. "Oh, nothing. The janitor just spilled his stuff and I was helping him." "She's lying. She kicked his things on purpose and was being horrible to him." I was sure Ms. Sheldon was going to tell her off, but she just looked uncomfortable and told everyone to go to their classes. I was so angry that she didn't stand up for Dad, just because Ashley's rich parents gave a lot of donations to the school. That night, Dad surprised me with a beautiful birthday cake. Happy birthday, sweetheart. I'd completely forgotten I was turning 17 today. Thank you, Dad. I'm really sorry about how horrible Ashley was to you. I wish I could just punch her in the face. Even the principal didn't do anything. I'm sure she didn't have a choice, honey. She can't afford to make someone like Ashley's parents angry. But that's so unfair. Well, I'm sure when you're rich one day, you'll treat people around you much better. Now don't worry about it anymore and open your gifts. I was shocked to see some branded bags, shoes, and clothes. How did you afford these? I had some money saved up. This will hopefully get those girls off your back for a while. I hugged him and promised myself that someday I was going to spoil him and make him proud. But a few months later, my world turned upside down when he suffered from a heart attack and fell into a coma. I didn't know what to do. And how was I going to pay the hospital bills? When I told the principal, I broke down into tears and she comforted me. You don't have to worry about anything, Nina. I'll talk to the school board and we'll still keep you in school free of charge. That's really kind of you, but I have another favor to ask. Please hire me in Dad's place. I really need his salary. Nina, I'm not sure you want to work here. Maybe I could lend you some money? Thank you, Miss Sheldon, but I'd rather work for it, please. She was hesitant, but eventually agreed to hire me. And she was generous enough to double Dad's salary. When Ashley saw me in my uniform for the first time, she cackled with delight. I knew it. You're the janitor's daughter. It's a shame to have a poor freak like you here in my school. The only thing that's a shame is that there are people like you in the world. Now please get out of my way. In between classes, I'd mop the floor and clean everyone's trash. And whenever I did, she'd be there to mock me. One time she peeled a banana and threw the peel right at my face. Oops, sorry. I mistook your face for a trash can. One day we were in the middle of an exam and she excused herself to go to the bathroom. When she came back, she complained that the toilet was clogged and I needed to go fix it. But I'm still answering my exam. You're the janitor here, right? Do your work now. I was furious when I checked it. She purposely stuffed a lot of tissue paper in the toilet. And even worse, she'd written the worst possible things on the bathroom walls. The next time Ashley complained about the clogged toilet, I finally spoke up. Ugh, how long should I suffer from your constipation, Ashley? I'm dying from the smell. She was surprised with my comeback and looked furious when others laughed. I didn't poop, dummy. Then why is the toilet always clogged? It was now her turn to blush and walk out. In your face, you stupid witch. One day when I was in the janitor's closet, I was surprised to see a boy coming in with a paper bag on his head. But I knew exactly who he was. Julian, why are you wearing that? Because you blush hard every time you see my handsome face? Oh, wow. Not only was he a little jerk, but he was also really full of himself. He got rid of the paper bag and held my hand. Surprisingly, I felt nothing. Listen, what you did with Ashley a while ago was so cool. It was the first time someone stood up to her and I'm impressed. Do you want to hang out sometime? I was about to say no when suddenly he leaned in for a kiss. I was blushing now, but in panic. Before our lips touched, the closet was suddenly opened by a super jealous Ashley. You're gonna pay for hitting on my future boyfriend, Nina. You'll see. One evening when I was studying for a big test, the principal called me. I'm really sorry, Nina, but the jocks and the cheerleaders had a big party at the gym, and we need the place clean for an assembly tomorrow morning. It shouldn't take too long. But when I got to school, I realized to my horror that not just the gym, but the whole school was a total mess. There was trash everywhere and stuff written on the walls. All the toilets were also clogged with tissue paper. Of course, I knew the culprit. I had to finally teach Ashley a lesson. I took pictures of all the mess. Then I went to her locker and opened it up using a hairpin. I grinned when I saw what was in there. There was still a room for a few things, so I took out the tissue papers from all the toilets and stuffed them in her precious locker. Perfect! Then an idea came to mind. I sneaked into the laboratory and mixed up a few chemicals together. I put my formula on a sponge and wiped it across the wall. The ink came off instantly. I sat down to rest for a while, and I just fell asleep there. The next morning, I woke up to everyone gathered around me, and Ashley was screaming. That freak ruined my locker. She did it. What's all this commotion? The principal walked into the scene, and I jumped to my feet as Ashley screamed about her locker. It's true I did that, Miss Sheldon. But look at what she and her minions did to the school before the scene, and I jumped to my feet as Ashley screamed about her locker. It's true I did that, Miss Sheldon. But look at what she and her minions did to the school before I cleaned it all up. Miss Sheldon looked horrified to see the pictures on my phone. She turned angrily to Ashley. Ashley, you have no respect for the people who work here, or for the school property. If you think I will keep tolerating such behavior, you are very much mistaken. Miss Sheldon, you know who my parents are, right? Yes, I do, and I will be calling them right now. I'm going to talk to the school board about having you expelled. Everyone around us erupted into cheers as Ms. Sheldon and a very furious Ashley walked into our office. She had been bullying everyone way too long. Long story short, Ashley was expelled, and even her minions were suspended. I was about to graduate high school in a few months, and I kept thinking about the formula that I tried in the school lab. I continued testing it at home, and after a few weeks, I felt I'd really perfected it. I set up a website and put up a small video of me cleaning the toughest stains with my invention. And to my surprise, it went viral. I had orders pouring in so fast, I was working day and night to meet the demand. 2 weeks later, an investor contacted me. And fast forward to a couple more months, I was earning millions. I transferred Dad to a better hospital, and just a month later, he finally woke up. I told him everything that happened, and he hugged me tight. I'm so proud of you, Nina. I went off to college, but Dad and I continued my business together and moved into a mansion. We supply our